Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm getting old. No, I'm only 34, I know. But, God, I'm certainly going to feel a lot fucking older later down the line. But there's the other dilemma I've got as well, which is I finally found out what's going on with my tooth. The teeth down in each corner of my jaw. 2 wisdom teeth are trying to push their way through. One of them pushing on a decaying tooth, which is basically condemned, and is also going to have to be extracted. That's going to put me back a sweet penny in this shitty cost of living crisis that we're all living through. But of course you didn't come here to find out about my teething problems. But there is one person I would definitely love to sink my teeth into, metaphorically speaking. And unfortunately he doesn't taste like chocolate, probably more like shit. Yes, I want to talk about the petition and the fact that Keir the traitor Starmer, after this petition, after being up for about 48 hours, give or take maybe a few hours, Keir the traitor Starmer has decided he's going to dismiss the petition. Yes, that's right. He's dismissing it. But you know what really pisses me off about it? It's not even the fact that he's dismissing it, generally speaking. It is the reasoning behind it, which the mainstream media, including ITV News, are running with. They put out a YouTube video, ITV News that is, which said, petition, which is 2 million signatures, but are they genuine? And when I saw this, had it been but for the fact I was in my office, had it been but for the fact I'm currently on duty and trying to make sure I'm doing all the work that I can for my company, I would have probably thrown a fucking gasket and blown one as well. Chairs would be flying at Mach 5 and I'd be putting on an air show. Anyway, I'd be throwing chairs Mach 5 out the fucking window, because how dare they have the audacity to say that 2 million people, actually more like 2.2 and counting, 2.2 million people, they want to say, they've got fake signatures. I tell you what, why don't we print that fucking thing off from the internet, hand it over to me, and I'll personally handwrite it myself. And don't be surprised if it looks like there's a spider stroke number 1 scrawled across the page. The absolute nerve of the media, and Keir the traitor Starmer seems to know no bounds. But when we're talking about media outlets that are more than willing to maliciously and willfully lie about their own people and commit libelous slander against the British people, can I really be surprised? Or in Keir the traitor Starmer's case, he's more than willing to fund a war in Ukraine. He's more than willing to send £2.5 billion to Ukraine, but he can't be fucked to give 300 quid to the elderly. He's housing illegal immigrants that have no legal or human right to be here in our 5-star hotels, which should be for our homeless, including our war vets, and he's giving them benefits and mobile phones, and he's fast-tracking Islamic immigrants into our country. The man wants to turn our country into a third world shithole as quickly as he can, and yet he has the nerve to say that 2 million people wanting him out are basically liars. Tell you what, Keir the traitor Starmer, you give me a piece of paper, and as I said, I'll personally sign the fucking thing myself and stick it as far up your ass as I possibly can. I'll probably give him a cured constipation. Anyway, I will sign the fucking thing myself physically, if he's really that worried. And I think I can speak for 2.2 million people who also would be more than willing to sign the thing physically. And isn't it funny as well how they never said that anybody who was part of the 6 million signatures as part of the idea of we must force the government to agree to our petition to basically keep us within the EU, even though this was the biggest democratic vote in our history and 17.4 million people voted for Brexit. But they were willing to resort to a petition to try and overturn a democratic vote. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me, it doesn't suit the narrative. They didn't accuse them of false signatures. Why this? I'll tell you why. It's because it threatens Keir the traitor Starmer's position as Prime Minister. This piece of subhuman filth has no shame at all. Keir the traitor Starmer has about as much decency as a streaker in a monastery. He is about as welcome in this country as a nonce in a nursery. And he has about as much credibility as a convicted second-hand car salesman fraudster. Anything that comes out of Keir the traitor Starmer's mouth, you should basically believe the opposite. If he says he's going to put the British people first, you better believe he's going to put the enemies of the British people first. He is a shameless maggot who now doesn't even have the decency to admit that he has been a colossal fuck-up for Britain. It is absolutely disgusting that the mainstream media want to follow this narrative as well. They should be named and shamed. Every single cunt who has decided to make this a headline. Because what they're basically doing is accusing the British people of forgery or fraud, when there is nothing of the sort. The British people are fed up of dictators, or maybe I was right first time, like Keir the traitor Starmer, going out of their way to fuck over the British people left, right and centre. They are sick to death of being forced into austerity and poverty by a man who wouldn't know what the working class is, even if somebody came along and slapped him in the fucking face with a wet fish. He is vile. He knows nothing about the plight of the working class. He claims to be a man of the working class, but he's about as much of a working class person as I am as a healthy, fit person. At least with me, though, you're going to get the fucking truth, or I'll try my best to tell you the truth. While Keir the traitor Starmer will do everything he can to say anything but the truth. Keir the traitor Starmer and all of his horrible ilk are on borrowed time right now. And I think Kronos wants his hourglass back. Anyway, these guys are all on borrowed time. There is no way the Labour Party is going to last more than 3 to 6 months. They'll be lucky if they see the end of the year. The man who's put this petition up, Michael Woodhill, I believe it is, if I remember the name correctly. It's Michael something or other. But that man is basically a hero. He has started something massive. He has basically started the beginning of the end for Keir the traitor Starmer and his horrible, disgusting ilk. I mean, taking from the elderly, funding wars, persecuting people politically who don't agree with their globalist Marxist views. You have people who are suffering through increased energy bill prices. You've got increased council tax. You've got more criminals in the streets committing more crimes because he's released all the killers and the pists and not sentencing all of the, how shall we put this, the SA motherfuckers, the people who want to go around and do inappropriate things to kids. They're all getting spared sentences, while we have political prisoners getting sentenced to jail for a Facebook post, for recording the aftermath of the Southport riots. There is no way Keir the traitor Starmer is going to last. He won't last 5 months, let alone 5 fucking years. And I said it before and I will say it again. This petition is our one opportunity to, metaphorically speaking, take out the trash. And Keir the traitor Starmer definitely classes as trash. Although, frankly, I think trash might get offended at that shit, because that would be an insult to it. Keir the traitor Starmer is more along the lines of the filth and the detritus you find lurking in the sewers at the lowest levels. He is not a human being. He is a maggot. He is a parasite. He is a person that basically wants to turn our country into the same third world shitholes that a lot of these Islamic immigrants are coming from, and a lot of the immigrants in general. Well, last time I checked, I believe the power belongs with the people. The people elect these people, the people elect these politicians, or rather traitors, to this country. And yet, these people who are in power, elected in power, are more interested in lining their own fucking pockets and increasing their own power. They do not support the British people. They do not support the working class. They do not support the rights of our country. They would rather sign us back up to the EU and overturn the biggest democratic vote in history. They've already given away control of our armies to the EU. They're trying to negotiate deals with the EU for more illegal immigrants. And we're supposed to sit back and take this shit. Especially now they're saying that those 2 million plus signatures are potentially frauds. How dare you? How fucking dare you? I really want to see this man crash and burn, because that's all he deserves. And if he has the nerve to start dismissing this petition, it could be the actual spark that lights the fire that Guy Fawkes wishes he could have done under the houses of treachery, I mean Parliament. Or again, maybe I was right first time. And it will literally destroy the career politicians. Their careers will go up in smoke, just like that. The bottom line is Keir the traitor Starmer is on the verge of starting a violent revolution, which I will always say this without fail, I do not advocate for, I do not condone, I do not want, and I will not justify. Anything, however, that happens to the traitors in Parliament, our two-tier police and our two-tier stroke number 2, our judiciary, they've only got themselves to blame. If you put your hand in the lion's cage, don't be surprised if you end up losing it. Or one of my favourites, the more you fuck around, the more you're gonna find out. I wonder, how many of those 2 million people, maybe 2.2 million, could go up to 2.5 or even 3 million, how many of those people are willing to take to the streets and hold your traitorous ass to account, Keir, the traitor Starmer, the sectarianist bastard? How many of them do you think are more than willing to see your sorry ass kicked out of 10 Downing Street? I reckon at least 20%. And that's been fucking generous to you, Starmer. I reckon it's more along the lines of 75%, 80%, maybe even 100%, who would love nothing more than to see the back of you, who would love nothing more to watch your career go down in flames. And I won't be surprised at this point if you have to live the rest of your days with constant security, just like Nigel Farage has to. Just like Tommy Robinson has to. Just like people like Richard Inman have to. The idea, or even Maya Toosey. But I don't think there's going to be many security people who are going to want to work with you when they find out how much of a traitorous sectarianist bastard you truly are, Starmer. As I said, we need to name and shame every single media outlet that runs with the narrative that they want to say that our signatures are fake on this calling of a general election petition. Every single one of those traitorous bastards must be brought to light and named and shamed, because they do not represent the British people. They represent the 1% that want to control the world. Or even worse, the 4% that are trying to stop the 5% from waking up the 90%. It won't be long before the fascist state falls. And when the fascist state falls, the British people will be there to cheer in glory as their regime finally comes to a bitter end.